Logic. The meaning and nature of logic. Logic is one of the major branches of philosophy. It is the normative science of correct reasoning. It is normative because it does not study how people actually reason or think, for that belongs to the field of psychology, but how they ought to reason or think to avoid mistakes. It provides the methods, principles, and techniques used to distinguish good from bad reasoning. Put differently, it furnishes us with the rules that enables us to reason correctly, to avoid errors or mistakes in our reasoning. According to Copy and Cohen, logic is the study of the methods and principles used to distinguish correct from incorrect reasoning. It enables us to evaluate our arguments and those of others, and detect loopholes or errors in such arguments. An argument is a group of interconnected propositions such that some provide evidence for the other. Andrew Efemini conceives argument to be a collection of propositional statements where one is ascertained on the basis of the other. Those which provide evidence for the others are called premises, while the ones evidence are provided for is called conclusion. This means every argument is made up of premises, to be henceforth referred to as premises, and conclusion. Conclusion is the claim made, while the premises are the evidence provided for the conclusion. The process of drawing conclusion from premises is called inference. The premises of an argument may establish or fail to establish the conclusion. This will be discussed in the subsection of deductive and inductive reasoning. We shall now discuss proposition briefly. Essentially, every argument is made up of propositions. This means propositions are the building blocks of arguments. A proposition is a sense or statement capable of being true or false. But the truth or falsity of proposition do not destroy the beauty of argument, nor do they stop the logical process of the argument. Examples of propositions are 1. All men are mortals. 2. No birds are carnivores. 3. Some animals are mammals. 4. Some teachers are not politicians. Propositions are made up of two terms, subject term and predicate term. A term is a class or a collection of items that have similar features or characteristics. Details will be treated in an independent chapter on logic. The classification of logic. Logic is classified into deduction and induction. Deduction or deductive reasoning or deductive argument makes the claim that its conclusion is supported by its premises conclusively. But concretely, in a deductive argument, the premises may establish or fail to establish the conclusion. If the premises establish the conclusion, in other words, if the conclusion is correctly inferred from the premises, then the argument is valid. If not, then it is invalid. The premises fail to establish its conclusion if 1. The conclusion says something completely different from what the premises assert. The conclusion as a whole, or any of its terms, assert something more than what the premises or its term assert or contain. The conclusion of a valid deductive argument does not say something new or something different from what the premises assert. Another way of putting it is that the conclusion of a valid argument is already contained in the premises. Induction. Induction or inductive reasoning or inductive argument is the process by which knowledge or generalizations or predictions are obtained from observational data. For example, if it is observed that a substantial number of ravens are black, it can be inferred inductively either by generalization that all ravens are black or by prediction that the next raven to be observed will be black. The premises of inductive arguments, even if true, do not support their conclusion conclusively. They only support their conclusion with a degree of probability. Inductive conclusion can infer something new or more than what the premises contain. This means from the observed data we can make inductive conclusion or generalization whose claims is not completely established by the premises. Hence, it is possible for inductive premises to be true, but their conclusion false. These are the reasons why inductive conclusions are only probable. Since the conclusions of inductive arguments extrapolate beyond existing data, and as such the conclusions are only probable, inductive argument, unlike deductive argument, cannot be subjected to the test of validity or invalidity. However, inductive argument can be evaluated or appraised with other sets of standards such as good or bad, strong or weak, cogent or uncogent, reasonable or unreasonable, correct or incorrect, and so on, depending on the degree of credence or evidence which the premises confer on the conclusion. Although inconclusive, the premises of an inductive argument will provide some support for the conclusion. The higher the level of probability the premises conferred on the conclusion, the greater the merit of the argument. Since an inductive argument yields only some degree of probability for its conclusion, it is always possible that additional information will strengthen or weaken it. Newly discovered facts may cause us to change our estimate of the probabilities, and thus may lead us to judge the argument to be better or worse than we thought it was. As Copy and Cohen puts it, even when the conclusion of an inductive argument is thought to be very highly probable, all the evidence can never be in. This is why we cannot assert that inductive conclusions are absolutely certain. Conclusion. In this chapter, we examined the main branches of philosophy. In doing this, we avoided strict philosophical nitty-gritty for economy of space and to ensure that what is presented is not more confusing to intended reader. We avoided strict philosophical interrogation, and where interrogation is attempted, they were mild. However, a detailed notes and references is provided to direct further inquiry for those who have further interest in this matter.